Hello everyone. Today we're going to be covering paper 9608 October-November 2019, and this is paper 11, and this is a subset of question 4. So this was the relational database question that came in question 4, so we'll just go quickly over it. So the bank uses a relational database of accounts to store the information about customers and their accounts. So we just noted down their first name, their last name, and date of birth. And the bank has several types of different savings. So it will have a unique ID, a name, and the bonus amount, right? And we know that a customer can have more than one account. This means we need to use a foreign key to link them. And so each customer account has its own ID number, and we need to store the amount of money the customer has in that account. And now we need to create a normalized relational database. So after we've gone through it, let's just see what are the different attributes for each of the table we need to give. So what are the data we need to store about the customer? Well, we know in a normalized database there needs to be a unique identifier for each, so like a primary key. So firstly, we will need to create a primary key, customer ID, right? So that'll be our thing. And since all the values have to be atomic, we would separate out first and last name. So we have customer first name as one of the fields, and then we have customer last name, right? Now, sorry, but yeah, so we need to do that, and that's about it for the customer table. We can just leave that there, and that will be done. Now let's look at the account types. First, of course, we need to have a unique ID. This is the primary key here, and over here, this will be the primary key, the customer ID, and we'll get to the next one here. So we need to have account ID. Again, you can change and have any name you want for the attributes as long as it's sensible. Then we'll have account name, and then finally we will have the account bonus, right? So just a general tip, to create accurate field names, you should go with the first letter or just the entity that's being described in the table with the different attribute you want to list, and that will give you the field name. So I want to store the name of the account, and I'm storing it in account type. You take account and name to create account name. Awesome. And now we have customer account, which would include first another own ID. So I will spell it out, but customer account, so customer account ID. Now we need to store the amount of money. So customer account money. Now we know that each customer will have, for each customer account, there has to be a customer firstly originated with it, and we will need to have the type of account, right? If I create a database for a bank, and I create an account which is represented by a field, how will I know which customer it belongs to? We need to obviously refer to the customer, right? So we will do customer ID, and we'll need to also know the type of account that has been created: savings, checkings, regulars, so we will have an account ID. So we can see that these two are primary keys of the account type and customer, and will be acting as foreign keys in this case in this table. So let's just move down to the next part. We'll need to identify the primary key. Well, we know over here it is customer ID. Here it will be account ID, and here will be customer account ID. Right? Simple as that. We need to uniquely identify, and we will use these fields to do so, and to identify one foreign key. Now, like we talked about in customer account, since we need to refer to the customer and the type of account, we'll use that. So the table would be the table would be customer, and then account, and then the foreign key can be either customer ID or account ID. So let's just go with customer ID, right? Awesome. Now to the final part of the question, we need to just define the definition of a few of the database terms. So what we can do is, for this one, all the data that's being stored about one entity. So in what do I store all the data? I store in a table, right? So this will over here refer to a table, or you can also call it a relation, which is a little less common, so I would just go with table as the primary option, right? Now, all the data in one row. So if I imagine this database here, I have my fields here, and then each one will include unique identifier, unique data that's being stored. What are these called? These are called our records, right? This is a record of all the information that's being passed, but you can also call them tuples if you prefer, but records is generally easier. And a column or field. So what is this thing called? This is basically what you're storing about that specific record. So if this was customer table, this could be the customer name, and it's just an attribute. If you think about it in English too, this is an attribute of the customer entity that I'm storing. Hence, the answer would be an attribute. So that would be done with question 4's database part.